And this was a funny one. I want to mention, almost unrelated, but there are things happening around LA that sort of influenced what they did. One of my good friends is Pat Smear, who was he's in the Foo Fighters now, Nirvana at the end, the Germs, of course, in the early days. And Van Halen was around this punk scene. We talked about the decline of classic hard rock. Punk rock was in, new wave was coming in. But the Van Halen guys even went to the whiskey and so forth. There's pictures in Slash magazine of them dressed up as punks, pretending to be an Australian punk band with like torn clothes and safety pins and their hair all done up. So they were making fun of and hanging out with punk people at the time. But there's a band called the Dils that was an LA classic. And these two brothers, Chip and Tony Kinman. Chip is a friend of mine who's the guitar player. Chip had a guitar which was a white Les Paul copy, and he wrapped it with black tape randomly about a year before the Van Halen thing. And I asked him, did you ever see those guys around? And he said, yeah, we didn't know who they were. They used to come to our shows sometimes and watch us play. And they weren't really punk rock in the Sex Pistols way, but, you know, just a rock band and so forth. But he said, we didn't know who they were, but we always said, the hippies are here. Those hippie guys with long hair and bell-bottoms are back. And so there's a definite, at least a predecessor to that guitar look. If you look up Chip Kinman and guitar or the Dils, you'll see him playing this guitar, which has the random black stripes across a white guitar. And a few people in town have said, oh yeah, that's definitely where it came from. So I said, you still have that guitar? Long ago gone, too. But the other little piece I brought, which is, again, it's not a piece of music as much as talking, but I always love to hear people chattering between takes. I wish more people had rolled tape between songs instead of just cutting music, because years later you get a sense of personalities or a sense of how people work together.
Wow,
but
yeah,
there was a weird group in LA called Zolar X, and Zolar X is a favorite of mine. They were weird space people, and they were kind of hard rock like Rush, sort of, but weirder. And they had antennas, and they had spacesuits. And they're literally playing around LA at Rodney's English Disco and clubs like that. But everybody knew them because they always pretended to be space people. And they were always talking in funny voices. They even went to the supermarket with a boombox playing space noises while they went shopping, you know.
Zolar X.
Yeah. And there's a guy who, a friend of ours, saw them at the Starwood. You'll find them. There'll be a picture for the interview here you can throw up. But one of our friends saw them coming out of the Starwood, and a gang of guys beat up one of the guys in the parking lot. And he said, Earthlings are ridiculous, in his space voice. And here on one of the Van Halen tapes, David Lee Roth is copying them and talking about humans and so forth. You'll hear this one. Here comes a little chat. And Dave uses this.
Ready? The heads of tomorrow.
Come on, Dave, can you close your door?
Now, humans are fun.
Now, Zolar X did play with Van Halen. I think one of the last Zolar X shows was opening for them about 1980, which doesn't make any sense to me at all, although they both had kind of a hard rock sound. They didn't fit the audience at all. But it's funny that he obviously was making fun of them on the tape here, and I don't think almost anybody else but me and a few people would get that. But they knew who Zolar X were. Yeah.
I want a Zolar X t-shirt now.
You can buy them online.
Really?
They have Zolar X masks, in fact. I got one of those